We have a primal instinct to fear apex predators. When we think of danger in the wild, we picture massive bite forces, sharp teeth, and cinematic monsters. We do the exact same thing with venom. We fixate on extreme toxicity and over-index our anxiety on creatures that can biologically overpower us. But we misallocate our safety budgets and our mental energy. We spend time worrying about statistically insignificant threats, and we completely ignore the daily, routine exposures that actually kill over 1.5 million people every year. On this mortality chart, sharks kill 7 people a year, and wolves take 10. But scaling the axis reveals the true apex killers. Snakes kill over 100,000, humans account for 400,000, and mosquitoes top 750,000 deaths annually. If you are an outdoor enthusiast or a global traveler, you have to audit your risks based on these numbers. You need to know where to actually allocate your risk mitigation resources. Biological lethality does not equal statistical risk. The deadliest animal isn't determined by its physical power. It is determined by your exposure to it. This quadrant chart evaluates true animal threats. The horizontal axis measures biological lethality. The vertical axis measures global body count. In the bottom right are the hype killers. These animals boast devastating biological weapons, but statistically negligible fatality rates. The inland taipan has the most toxic venom of any snake, and the box jellyfish packs enough punch to kill a healthy adult in under 5 minutes. When a box jellyfish makes contact with skin, its tentacles discharge microscopic harpoons. These inject cardiotoxins that disrupt human heart function almost instantly. This category also includes large aggressive reptiles like crocodiles, which kill between 1 and 4,500 people globally every year. But preparing for these hype killers requires minimal active input. Keeping yourself safe relies almost entirely on basic geographic avoidance and situational awareness. Wasting extensive mental energy and resources preparing for statistical anomalies is a terrible investment. Your survival against these animals is mostly a function of sheer luck and geography. Moving to the middle of our evaluation framework, we find animals that kill tens of thousands of people every year. They do this not through supreme physical power, but through sheer proximity to rural populations. The common dog is responsible for up to 59,000 deaths annually, almost exclusively through the transmission of the rabies virus. Global health authorities don't even categorize this as a wild animal attack. They treat it as an imported cross-border disease vector. Venomous snakes, like the saw-scaled viper, account for roughly 100,000 deaths a year. These fatalities usually happen simply because someone stepped on a snake in the dark. If exposed to a mid-tier killer, survival isn't about fighting off the animal. It is a race to access specific antivenoms and post-exposure vaccines. The lack of this exact medical infrastructure in developing nations is what artificially inflates the death toll of these animals. If you are bitten by a snake or a rabid dog, the animal's biology is no longer the main issue. Your primary risk variable is your distance to a modern hospital. That brings us to the ultimate killers. These creatures require zero physical strength, yet they wipe out over 1.2 million people every year. The freshwater snail transmits schistosomiasis parasites directly through the skin of people wading in water. This mechanism causes up to 200,000 deaths annually. Then there are humans. Through homicide and interpersonal violence, we account for over 400,000 global deaths each year. But the undisputed apex killer on this planet is the mosquito, responsible for over 750,000 deaths annually through diseases like malaria. This animated cross-section shows how mosquitoes bypass our physical defenses entirely. They act as a biological syringe, injecting parasites directly into the bloodstream while secreting anti-clotting agents. Mitigating these apex vectors requires highly unglamorous work. It takes continuous, daily discipline rather than a quick burst of adrenaline. The deadliest creatures on Earth don't overpower you, they infect you. Survival requires systemic barriers, not a physical fight. Let's turn this data into a definitive scorecard to audit your own safety investments. We can map your resources across 3 columns: gear, medical, and behavioral. If you're a wilderness enthusiast, pack pressure immobilization bandages for unexpected venomous bites. But you need to completely downregulate the mental bandwidth you spend on apex predators. Keep your situational awareness high and drop the predator panic. If you're a global traveler, Allocate the vast majority of your safety budget to the medical column. Invest in travel clinics, high-grade DEET, and malaria prophylaxis. Your primary enemies are the mosquito, the rabid street dog, and contaminated water. They are not the movie monsters. True risk mitigation means trusting the data. Let go of cinematic fears and invest your resources in the unglamorous preventative medicine that actually keeps you alive.